Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We'll get going in just a few seconds right here. For some reason, GoTo is acting a little bit funky. When I was trying to show my PowerPoint screen, it would freeze up. So I'm just restarting that bit right now. And we should get the show on the road any minute now. All right, it's just starting up the PowerPoint for some reason. GoTo has been really odd for the past 15 minutes or so. All right, I think I got it all. All right, I think we're all back to being set now. All right, so hopefully you'll see my screen in a second here.
Just where I put up the emoji of me holding my breath?
Yeah, yeah. Every time I click to show the screen, GoTo likes to freeze up. Worst comes to worst, I'll just send you files, see if it works in your end. But yeah, we'll make this work. Just okay. There we go. I think it's working now.
Hey, guess what?
See it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, perfect.
Still
So
see
don't
it.
know
You're
why
good.
it was acting up, but it's working now, so that's good right there. For some reason, I had to sign in like 3 times to GoTo, and then when I tried to show my screen, it would freeze up then as well. So I've never had that either, or I should say it's been a long time since it's done that. So without further ado, we're all here, so that's all good. And once again, my name is Brian Kaz, and I'm joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another Wednesday marketing webinar for you, and on this one, we basically sent out an email a couple days back or so, basically asking what you thought your biggest obstacles were holding your business back. And we basically compiled a lot of those. Some we kind of summed up into one if there were a few of you that had like a similar question or similar obstacle. And we put those all together, and we'll use this call to basically answer or more so give some tips next to each obstacle that you guys say that you have. Now, of course, we'll also have plenty of time for Q&A. So if there's any questions or any more obstacles that you think of along the way, feel free to mention those, and we'll try to answer them partway through this call as well. And as always, just for a reminder for those of you that are new, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is right about now. I will have a live training and/or Q&A call, and we'll also record these as well. So if you miss one, we'll have them in the members area, usually within about a day or so. And you'll get a reminder each week if you're here or you're registered, just so you don't forget. But again, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day. And it will be under the training tab on the left side of the navigation bar. So you click on training, then you click on Wednesday calls, and you'll see the most recent ones at the very top. And you can search by topics and stuff right there and find tons and tons and tons of them. I mean, we have tons of trainings. Gosh, I want to say probably well over 100, maybe even like 150. Actually, I think probably closing in on 150 or so. So there's quite a bit in there. Pretty much we'll cover any topic you could probably think of. So make sure to search that if there's one of interest. And if you want a chance to win $100 today, make sure to join our free Facebook group, which you can at getwebfire.com/FB group. So you just go to that link right there, and if you're not yet a free member of that, just click the join button. Sharon will approve you within probably a minute or two if you do so now. And towards the end of this call, we'll give you some instructions on what to do to have a chance to win $100 live that we'll actually give away towards the end of this call right here. We'll actually PayPal it almost instantly to the winner. Now, let's move on to our training for this week, where we'll be answering your questions on what your biggest obstacles holding your business back are. So again, we'll show what the obstacles that you guys think is holding your business back. Then we'll give some answers or some suggestions, and then we'll have an extended Q&A, or we'll see about how long that all takes, but we'll definitely have some time for a Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And then we'll give some cash away. So, moving on to what the biggest things holding you back are according to you. All right. The one I often see here that we saw is people are saying they have a lack of time. They have a lack of time to try new methods or new strategies, or to basically run, the online part of their business, or run any business at all. And to that, I really say, I think probably 99% of people, it's not really a valid excuse. They're trying to overwhelm themselves with like tons of stuff instead of doing anything. Or they say they're super, super busy, but it's like, a lot of stuff that you can do online, literally you can do with like an hour or two a week. So, I find it hard to like really believe that, a lot of people, or most, don't have at least an hour or two a week to do some stuff. Like if you just want to be an affiliate and write some reviews of stuff, and follow the methods there. There's trainings and stuff that we have that, again, with like an hour a week, you can get a decent amount of stuff done. But I find like oftentimes people think that they're overwhelmed because they think, well, I have to do this, and this, and then they just basically give up before they even start. Or they basically want to build like a multi-million-dollar empire overnight, and they think, wow, there's a lot of work that goes into that, rather than start with, hey, if you're brand new, maybe start with something that makes just a little bit and kind of move on up from there as stuff grows. And I think with that, I mean, if you're brand new, and let's say, let's say you already put like a full-time day into your job, or into your business, or into whatever it might be, just basically saying, hey, I'm going to spend an hour a week on this day at this time doing something simple online, following one of the strategies online, and stick to it for like a month or two of just like an hour a week. And as you start to get a little traction there, start to grow that. The other thing I oftentimes see is people try to do too much, and that kind of chips away on their time and can overwhelm them. If you're like let's say you're trying to make a blog, okay, and let's say you're not a technical guy, you're not a graphical guy, don't try to spend a day making a simple header graphic that you can go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. You can hire a guy for $5 that can whip that out literally in probably like no time flat. And he can probably do what would take you a day or two. He can probably do that same thing in 10 or 15 minutes, and he'll probably do a better job than you. And I find like people oftentimes try to do almost too much. Or if there's like a plugin that you're trying to install yourself, if you're like not technical savvy at all and you're like completely clueless on all that, again, hire a guy for $5 off of a site like Fiverr to do that stuff for you right there. It saves you a ton of time. In fact, there was a lady once, I think at an event of ours, who basically mentioned when we brought this up, or something like this, she was saying that there was a plugin that she just wasn't quite sure how to install that or do any of that, on a WordPress site of hers. And, we suggested, hey, why not just hire a guy off of Fiverr for $5 to do it? Because she was saying that she spent like 2.5 or 3 months trying to install a certain plugin, and she didn't know what she was doing, and she was frustrated at that, and yada was holding her back. And it's like, well, why not just pay the $5 and get that done in like 10 minutes, if not less? And the response back was, well, I'm not stupid. I can do this stuff myself. I can learn how. I'm not stupid. And it's like, well, of course you probably can, but I don't think you're stupid for like not knowing how to do something on the technical side. I mean, there's probably 99% of us probably can't do a lot of that stuff, or can't do something on the technical side, where it's like, I think it's more so not thinking straight if you think your time is better spent spending like 2-3 months trying to figure out something that someone else could do in like 5 to 10 minutes for $5. So sometimes people kind of like shoot themselves in the foot by trying to do everything themselves. I think really you should try to focus on what you're best at. So if you're really good at selling, sell. If you're really good at writing, write. If you're really good at creating products, create products. If you're really good at the marketing side or Facebook ads, do that stuff. And the stuff that you're not good at, try to outsource that and try to actually stick to some like set time, each week or each day or each month that you actually work on that. The other big one that we oftentimes see is one where it's like how to sell or salesmanship or how to close. Basically, people that think that the biggest obstacle is that they don't know how to sell or they don't know how to like once they get a lead, they don't know how to turn that lead into a sale and stuff like that. And with that, I tend to say that people are overthinking. If you have a decent offer or a decent product, it can oftentimes speak for itself. You just have to be confident in it. But on that note, it's sometimes best, especially when you're trying to get leads, to try to get your foot in the door first. Like, it's sometimes hard to jump straight from like a random cold lead to like, a $5,000 a month sale. Can it happen? Sure. But usually, it takes a little more experience or, a little luck at first to kind of land those. Whereas if you get your foot in the door by saying, hey, I see your website does not rank well. I see you also don't have a schema on your site. Here are some of the benefits of a schema. I could do a basic one for you for either like a cheap price or maybe even free, just kind of get your foot in the door, then try to upsell them on additional things. So at that point, you don't have to be the best salesman. I mean, it's kind of like if I was on this call and said, hey, who here would like a free candy bar? Probably everyone would say yes. That wasn't really an awesome sales pitch. I didn't talk about how great the chocolate is, how great the caramel is. I just said, hey, do you want a free candy bar? And pretty much everyone will probably say yes. So you can be the crappiest salesman alive, but if you have a decent enough offer, you will get that. More importantly, I find, is you want to make sure that you reach out to the right kind of leads, to the leads that can make a decision or the leads that could most basically benefit from you. Like if you're trying to sell $1,000 service to a place that barely makes $1,000 profit a month, you can be the best salesman in the world and you might get some sales, but it'd be very, very tough. Whereas and especially if they're selling like low price stuff. Whereas if you reach out to a place that might do like hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, where one sale could be tens of thousands of dollars, all of a sudden, if you're selling service for like $1,000 a month, it's much easier to say, hey, if you get even one sale a year, you're making a profit off this. And hey, you're losing a lot of money because your competitors, are currently ranking here, or whatever your service might be. I'm just using SEO as an example here. And at that point, again, it's kind of like you have to convey what the benefit is to them and what they're currently losing by not taking advantage of that. And then, all that comes down to is instead of basically talking about, how great you are, how good your services and all that, you talk more about them. You talk about like what they're losing right now and how that could be solved essentially. So that's, one way that can help right there. I also find like as a whole, anything that you can give away for free tends to be really easy to get leads in. And once they open up to you, once they're in the front door, once they grab that free offer, whether it be a little service or a report on how a client earned more or whatever it might be, a report on how someone lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks if you sell like a weight loss product or anything like that. Once you get your foot in the door with them, it's far easier to sell them more. And on that note too, I oftentimes find that the majority of people don't have like an autoresponder series. They don't try to sell them over email, or they basically think, man, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to have a sales pitch for them. And the mentality is a bit messed up, because it's like if you're trying to get guys to buy your weight loss product or your SEO service or whatever it might be, they'll never buy unless you try to make an offer. unless you try to present them with one. So if they don't buy on day one off of the offer that they saw, make sure you're emailing them, and not just like once a month. Make sure, I mean, the majority of better lists I've seen are emailing, every day or more. But if you're not at least mailing a few times a week, they're forgetting about you, okay? And you're losing a ton of money. And on top of that, when you do that, you don't just have to focus on your one product. You can have additional products. You can be an affiliate for lots of other stuff. As long as you make a bunch of offers, whether they be yours or affiliate offers, eventually you'll make more. And Sean, I'm not sure if you have any extra advice or tips based on that. I know it's fairly a broad one right there, but if not, we'll move on to the next one.
Nothing specific, but when it comes to sending email, like every day, I developed long ago the hotel room theory of email marketing, which has now been taught to a lot of people by a lot of people, and it's really simply this: you own a hotel. Today you have rooms. If you do not rent those rooms today, tomorrow you can't rent them today because today is gone, right? So every day your hotel rooms go unused, you're not making money. Same thing with send an email. Don't send email, don't get paid. Send email, get paid. It's really, really, really that simple. Get the people on a list, beat the hell out of them.
Yeah,
Slightly, of course.
And in a nice way, of course, yeah. And with that too, like if you're not selling them, someone is. If you're like, let's say you have a prospect that's into weight loss, they're probably not just on your list. They're probably not just looking at your stuff. They're probably looking at a bunch of stuff. And you can bet that if you're not selling them, someone else is. And they're going to buy, whether it's from you or someone else. So that's why you want to have them rather buy from you than someone else. And to really hit home on this, if you guys are in like the internet marketing niche, or the business or entrepreneur, or anything like that, how many email lists are you on? It's probably not just us. I mean, if it is, great, but my guess is you're probably on, or in fact, let's take a survey. How many lists do you guys think that you're on in the internet marketing type niche or field? Because that's kind of like a general concept of what some of the stuff is right there. How many lists do you think you're on? Let's see what people are saying here. All right.
Well, let's put it this way. In the internet marketing world, right, how many of you are on more than 20 lists?
Yeah, so we have guys saying 30 to 40, 50 plus, 15, 10, 20, 100, 15 or so, 50 plus, loads, 100, 30 to 50, lots saying around 50, and more saying more find them every day. So yeah, you kind of get the point there that if we're not sending you at least some emails making an offer, some of those other guys are. They're not just all being like super nice saying, hey, we don't want to bug them today, we'll let them be. You want to make an offer because people are buying. In fact, to give a perfect example, I forgot who the person was, but there's apparently a gal, I think it's the fashion niche, with like purses and shoes and stuff like that. Because there's oftentimes like people that say, whoa, it's too much to mail that list each day. Anyway, this gal that was in the fashion niche mails the list. I forgot if it was like 6 or 8 times a day, but it was like a crazy amount of times every day. And she found that the more she mailed, the more she would make. And people actually enjoy a lot of the emails that they get too, because they like to basically buy the stuff that she's talking about or recommending and so forth. And as long as you're doing a good job of that, as long as you're making offers that people want, they want to basically buy. Especially if you're in the market, like people are interested in that. In fact, another example of that is they found years back there was like a study done on gaming magazines. Because they're trying to find essentially a balance between the amount of ads and the price that they charge and the amount of content. And they found that the majority of people that bought the magazines were actually buying because of the ads for other games and stuff. And it was like that was the selling point. They wanted to see the ads of the other games and the games that are about to come out. So they didn't really care as much about the content. I'm sure some did, and they'd probably, you know, there definitely was content and stuff there, but they liked the ads because it was selling them stuff that they wanted, stuff that they liked. So you should keep that in mind there. All right, moving on. Another one we got from one or two guys was they thought that their biggest problem was how to scale. So there's a couple examples of people who've, you know, done okay at making a few sales here and there, but they didn't really know how to scale past that. And there were a few examples of people basically explaining that, but the majority of them seem to have a few things in common. One, they oftentimes would just, like, you know, they'd have a blog post out there, they'd have some rankings, or, you know, they'd have like a Facebook page and they'd have some info up on them, and they'd get some sales, or they have like a couple affiliates and they get some sales off that, but they could never scale past that. And there's a few things that you can do with that. First, you know, let's say you sell a guide on, you know, I don't know, how to win at poker, okay? So it's, you know, let's say that you have, like, you know, a handful of videos or blog posts and stuff that, you know, give some tips and stuff, and then you drive them to your offer. That's all fine and dandy, but typically, you know, it only grows to you know, it only grows to a certain amount that way. And there's a few things that you can do. One, on the organic side, you can create, like, I mean, literally dozens to hundreds of different kinds of keywords and different kinds of questions that people search for, looking for tips there, or maybe looking for tips for like certain kinds of poker and stuff like that, or more advanced tips where they might be talking about specific names of strategies, or what to do in this case or that case, or what are the odds of, you know, this hand versus that hand. And there's like literally probably hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands and thousands of different keywords and questions that you can do some research on and find out. And you don't have to have that all from day one, but if, like, each week you're like, hey, I'm going to spend an hour or two a week, pick a new keyword or question or two each week, and I'm going to write a blog post or do a video on just that, or do both. That both would be ideal. Because then you could rank on YouTube as well as Google, as well as, you know, have your blog as well as the, you know, a YouTube video, and you can find that over time you can start to kind of slowly increase that more and more and more. And what happens is that you don't overnight necessarily get a rush of traffic, but if you have a new blog post or video out there that gets, like, let's say 100 views a month, and let's say of that, you know, you might get, like, let's say you get like one sale off of that, okay? It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you factor in that, like, every month it might be getting 100 more views, and every month it might be getting one more sale, if you do a lot of those over time, that starts to add up and starts to scale. But if you have a really good offer, what you can do is you can say, hey, people really seem to be liking my organic stuff here. Maybe I should try this on the paid side. Maybe I should run some Facebook ads or some Google ads and see how that goes. And in a case like that, you have to be, like, super smart. As in, like, you don't want to waste the traffic because you're paying for it. So in that case, you know, you want to make sure that you have an offer that goes to, like, you know, usually like an opt-in page of some kind where people get, like, a freebie, like maybe after you give the tip, say, hey, for the best 3 tricks, you know, in this poker or that poker, you know, into your email right here, and get, you know, what your top free, you know, tricks are, and then, you know, once you have that lead, boom, you can, you know, obviously market to them more. But immediately after that, you know, you want to have at least a couple upsells or one-time offers there to maybe get your full course, or maybe get like an advanced course, or like an intermediate then, or whatever it might be. And then even after that day right there, you want to continue to market to that list over and over and over and over again, and also to, like, related stuff as well, because you might find that, hey, maybe they're interested in poker, but they also might be interested in blackjack, or you know, craps, or whatever else it might be. So, you know, there's a lot more that you could sell, and you might find that, hey, you know, if you can get leads for, let's say, a couple bucks a pop, you know, you might find that, hey, you know, right off of day one, you know, maybe you can make the couple bucks back, or at least a portion of that, or maybe you can even make a profit off of that on day one. But it's the back end that tends to make more, especially anytime you scale. Most of the money comes from the back end. So it's not like if you're selling a $7 course, you know, it's not like, I mean, it's possible, but it's not that common to get rich off a $7 course when you're doing paid ads and stuff. You tend to get rich off of what you do on the back end, what your upsells are, what you do with the email list. Like, you might find that, hey, all these leads over time, you know, might be worth X amount of money. Like, let's say you get a lead for $2 and you find that, hey, you know, over time these leads are worth $3. And on top of that, you also might get, you know, a buck or two back from day one. So you might find that, hey, after a month or two, you might basically double your money because you have the back end and all that. And that's how you basically scale. You say, hey, in 1 to 2 months, I'm able to basically double this as long as I get leads for less than $2 and as long, you know, as you know, 1 out of X amount of people buy, or something along those lines. You know, right there, that's how you can basically take that and scale. But most of the better offers I usually see start with some kind of a free offer or free plus shipping, or, you know, but followed up by a handful of upsells and stuff. The other thing that you can do to scale as well is you can try to find other partners and stuff to tie into their offers. Like, maybe there's someone that has a large market share in your niche. Like, they sell really well. Like, they might sell hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars of their own stuff. And you might say, hey, I wonder if they would be interested in either offering my stuff in their back end for a cut, or maybe even doing a white label deal with them where you let them basically brand your product as theirs. You do all the support and all that stuff if they want, and you take a cut of all their sales from your product right there. Because it might be like, hey, there's a lot of places out there that might make a lot of money, might have, you know, a lot of leads, a lot of sales right now, but they might lack newer products. And you can kind of find those guys, reach out to them, and tap into them right there. And that's really neat, because like 1 or 2 deals like that can make a fortune. I don't see enough guys really trying to take advantage of that, when that's probably one of the biggest ways to scale super fast and make a lot of money super fast, especially if you think that you're not good at like a lot of the stuff. Why not tap into others that are? As long as you have a good product or a good service or a good offer, you know, you can easily do that. All right, another one I've seen is how to rank in a competitive market and at the same time not seem spammy or unnatural. So there's one person in particular that said, you know, if they're in a competitive market and they find a keyword that they want to rank for, they were afraid it would sound unnatural on their site to reuse that word over and over and over and over again. And with that, I say, don't use the keyword over and over and over again in an unnatural way, because it will look spammy and it tends not to work. You want to flow and read normal. And with that, as long as you have the keyword somewhere in the title, if it's like, you know, if you use like the keyword tool inside a Webfire and you find that, you know, it's not as competitive, you have a much easier chance at ranking as long as you have the keyword in your title and use it at least once somewhere in the content. So it's not like you have to use it like 5, 10, or 20 times, because that can look spammy. And if you're in a super competitive market, what you'll find is you probably don't want to waste your time on the very competitive keywords that, you know, tons and tons and tons of other sites might be trying to fight for. Instead, there could be hundreds to even thousands of additional keywords that are kind of like the low-hanging fruit, where, you know, it might not get, you know, 100,000 searches each month, but if it gets, let's say, 5,000 searches each month, or even 500 searches each month, but is super easy and not that competitive, you can go for those. Again, spend like an hour or so a week trying to write like a new blog post or a new video or a new page where you target that, and over time that can start to add up there. Especially if you look at like the common questions, that's actually a great way. Look at the common questions that people ask in your niche, and then try to essentially target and rank for those right there, and just do like, you know, one a week, but make sure you clearly and easily address and make your post relevant to the question or to the keyword that you're trying to rank for. Because the biggest issue I see are people that try to rank for stuff, but then they don't really deserve to be ranked because they don't have any useful info relevant to the keyword that they're trying to rank for. But yeah, there are always low-hanging like fruit or keywords and stuff, even in the most competitive of markets. So always keep that in mind. That's why like tools like the Webfinder keyword tool and all that is really, really useful, because you can more easily find that. And similar to that, there was a handful of questions like they thought their biggest issue was how to get leads or traffic or rankings and stuff. So kind of along the same lines when it's in a competitive niche. So they basically thought, hey, for easy niches, it's, you know, fairly easy to get rankings and traffic and leads, that they thought, but what about more competitive ones? Well, actually, there's kind of like a hidden benefit to the more competitive markets. So sure, on the super competitive ones, there might be more keywords that are competitive, even though there's always lots of low-hanging fruit and keywords that are not. But usually the more competitive markets tend to have a lot more traffic as a whole, tend to have a lot more people as a whole. For instance, if you're in like the make money online or the weight loss niche or some really big one like that, I mean, pretty much, you know, almost everyone at some point wants to lose weight or make more money or something along those lines. So obviously it'd be more competitive versus, you know, if you're in the niche of how to weave baskets underwater, yeah, it's super easy because there might only be like, you know, a couple dozen people that are interested in that. So it's not as big of a market. So, you know, oftentimes you'd rather want to take a small slice of a big pie than the entire pie of like almost a non-existent one. And on the larger niches, the other benefit is you can use some of like the lead tools of ours to actually find more leads of people talking about that stuff and asking questions on that stuff. So you can use like the Rank Lead Finder, the Real-Time Lead Finder, the Tweet Lead Finder, the Q&A lead tool, and all those to actually find guys asking questions on that stuff, where you can take a minute or two to basically answer them, reach out to those leads, and literally basically tap into tons and tons and tons of leads out there, and start to, you know, basically gather up a lot of those leads for yourself, or start to get a lot of the traffic off those other sites, off the other forums and blogs and stuff, and you can help basically drive the traffic from there to your own site by basically being useful and answering useful questions. You can also, on that same note too, on the paid ad side, on the more competitive markets, it means there's a lot more people out there. And sometimes you might have to think a little more clever, like instead of just looking for like people who like weight loss or Jenny Craig or, you know, something along those lines, you can say, hey, well, you know, what are some other things that people are looking to lose weight might have in common? Maybe there's other less popular weight loss programs that you can try to basically target people who like that. And that can be sometimes a cheaper way to try to tap into those markets as well. But oftentimes the bigger niches are even better because you can more easily tap into them. And also on like the Make Money Online site, an example with that, just because that was one that guy asked on, is you don't have to target that as a whole. Like you might find like, hey, it might be way easier to kind of sub niche that down onto, you know, how to make money off of Shopify or off of Facebook, or even off of a Facebook group or fan page. So you don't even have to be as broad as how to make money off of Facebook. It could be how to make money off of Facebook groups, or something where you kind of sub niche down like that. So there's less competition as a whole. It's easier to kind of rank for various keywords, and easier to kind of like niche that down and specifically target people who you know you can help. Because if they're looking for like how to make money off of Facebook groups, you know that's much more niche down than people just looking to make money online, or people even looking to make money off of Facebook, because that can mean a whole bunch of stuff. So you niche it down, you narrow your target down, and that can work really, really, really well there. But again, it all starts with like making little steps to start with. Sean, I'm not sure if you have any input so far on this, or anything else that I mentioned before I move on to the next one.
No, well, I probably could go on for a while, but I think we need to keep going because we only got 21 minutes left.
Alrighty. So another one that I saw was there's one that said they have a lack of good management, and I wasn't quite sure what this particular one meant. But I've had in the past, I've had a handful of people say some similar stuff. Sometimes they talk more about like time management, which again we kind of touched on at one of the questions at the start, where it was like, hey, outsource the stuff that you're not good at. But the other thing too is like if let's say you have a product where like let's say you have a writer that writes your book, and let's say you have a web designer that does your website and stuff like that. Sometimes they think if stuff doesn't get done right, that they lack the good management, or they lack like person and place to do all that. And sometimes I find like, you know, that can be the case, but more often than not, it can oftentimes be if you don't give clear instructions on what to do, it can cause a management issue down the line with workers and stuff. Like I've seen, especially when it comes to like programming or web design, people have an idea in their head of what they want, and they assume that, you know, they don't need to explain the whole thing when they really do. It's kind of like saying, if I said, hey, write a book about how to make money on Facebook, okay? There are probably 100 different ways that a person could write that. And one person might be thinking like, hey, I'll basically talk about how to brand yourself and be like a popular, you know, person on Facebook and yada yada. And you might be thinking, whoa, wait, I meant more on the Facebook ad side, or I meant more on this side or that side. And then you might think that the writer is terrible, or that the researcher is terrible. But in the end, it might be like, well, you really didn't explain that. Or, you know, on the website side, you might say, hey, make me a cool website that, you know, looks nice and has this, you know, color and blah, blah. And then the end product you get, you might be like, whoa, wait, this looks basically like crap. This is nothing like what I wanted. And oftentimes people tend to think, oh, that must be because, you know, the graphic guy really sucks and yada yada. It, you know, it could be that, or it could just be that you didn't give clear instructions, you didn't give examples of what you wanted. On the programming side, you really need to lay out like exactly what you want it to look like. Maybe even draw the stuff out and say precisely like how you want it to do this, what you want it to do on the back end. You know, you really have to explain it, give examples if you can, make it crystal clear exactly what you want, and that will solve a lot of management issues to start with. The other thing too is if you have some kind of deadlines or timelines and stuff where you say, you know, hey, you know, how long do you think this will take right here? And then you try to stick to a deadline, and you try to check in on that maybe partway through and see where stuff stands. And I know it's not always like a fun task to basically do to manage all that, but usually most of the issues can be solved right from the get-go just by clearly laying out exactly what you want and what you expect of everyone right there. So it's a problem that almost any business has, whether it's small or big, but that stuff can help a great deal right there. And if you had like another question on that, if the person that asked this is on this call, feel free to clarify exactly what you meant with that. Another question we had was how to grow a business if you suck at marketing. So there's a few people that basically were saying, hey, what if they're not good at marketing? How do you market, essentially? Or what should they do if they really suck? Well, I'd say first, you know, you can always try to learn stuff. Like no one was great. I mean, I shouldn't say no one, but probably 99.9% of people weren't great at marketing just off the get-go the very first time. You know, there's stuff that they learned over time. But having said that, if you have a skill where you're super good at something else, I think you should focus on what you're really good at, what you really enjoy and what you're really good at, and then try to maybe find a partner who's better at the other stuff. For instance, if you're really good at creating products or doing SEO or basically doing another service of some kind, try to focus on that and then spend a little time trying to reach out to potential partners that seem to have a market share that could maybe kind of grow that part of the business for you, and maybe they suck at the stuff that you do, and together you guys can make a lot of money. So try to find like the right matches right there. Try to find guys with, you know, the market share and all that right there. The other thing too is, you know, if you're overthinking what your offer is, or you're overthinking on the marketing side, you know, usually all comes down to having a good offer with targeted traffic. So if you don't make money, it's because one of those things are missing. You either don't have a good offer, or you're not targeting your traffic well. And oftentimes I find there's a lot of guys that don't have a good offer to start with. Like, they don't have an appealing offer. They just say, hey, sign up to get my free newsletter, which is like, you know, you're not going to get high opt-in on that. Or, hey, you know, pay me $15 to buy my weight loss guide, where they don't give any examples, or they don't even like micro target that down or anything like that. It just won't work well. Or they don't have any upsells and stuff, you know, like that. So first and foremost, make sure you have a great offer that is like super appealing to everyone, especially something, you know, if you can get your foot in the door, even with like a free offer, or, you know, an impulse buy offer that's less than, you know, basically $20 or so. That's a good way to get your foot in the door right there. Other than that, if you're trying to focus on high price point stuff, use the case studies, get the name out there, get your case studies and examples out there, and you'll attract larger clients to you. But lastly, again, I highly recommend, if there's something that you're great at, you know, try to see what you can do to just do that, and maybe try to partner or reach out to others that you can make a lot of money together by benefiting off what you're both good at. All right, another one was how to get your offer to stand out in the crowd, especially if there is lots of junk or crap out there. Like let's say you have a legitimate weight loss product that you think, hey, this is really good. You know, so let's say you lost, you know, 20 or 30 pounds on it, and you're like, wow, this is a legit one. It's not the crap one. Like, there might be a lot of crap ones that are all like fake, that show like, you know, someone that lost like 100 pounds in like a day. You know, and that's a common issue, where like people are like, how do you compete when the competition's like lying on stuff, or when it just looks like a lot of junk? And with that, again, there's a few things that you can do. Is one, you can kind of micro niche it down, but two, I find if you have a good offer, or you have good case studies or testimonials or anything like that, focus on that. Like, if you're on Facebook, like let's say you do SEO, you can run a Facebook ad or do a post where you basically talk about, hey, here are the 3 things that we did to get this guy ranked from nowhere in the top, you know, 1,000 to #1 on Google in less than, you know, 10 days. And you give it the example, like, hey, here's what we did, here's the few things we changed right here, then we did this, and that. It's the kind of thing that makes you stand out, because you're not selling right off the bat. You're saying, hey, here's what we did to help. So if you're trying to attract people that need help with SEO, everyone in that field is going to click that link and kind of read, oh, I wonder what they did to rank so quickly, so well. Then at the very end, a lot of them will say, oh, that's really awesome. I want them to work for me. So instead of them trying to do the work themselves, they'll say, man, I want them to do that with my stuff. And then you have like a slight call to action at the end of your case study, or your blog post, or your video, or whatever it might be, for them to reach out to you right there. And that's so you can close some more like high-end type sales in, you know, the thousands of dollars or so range right there. So that's one way to stand out. The other way is to have an unbeatable offer. Like if you're trying to sell like an SEO service, you know, you could even go as far as like making them a sitemap for free. In fact, Webfire can automatically make a sitemap, which is like a table of contents, quickly and easily with like a click of a button. Or you could even do a schema for free, or something where it's like an unbeatable offer, where it's like you'd be dumb not to. And yeah, you might get some guys that, you know, might not end up being worth a lot of money to you after a while, or, you know, in the long run, but you'll attract a lot of leads, and you will get guys that will spend more with you, that you can upsell into more of like a monthly SEO service or stuff like that. So try to see what you can do that doesn't take a lot of your time, but give something out for free of value that really would be like a no-brainer offer. Because I mean, think about it. I mean, if there's 10 guys out there that are trying to sell you on, you know, a service on how to rank your site higher, and one of them says, hey, just for basically checking me out, I'll give you a free sitemap, or I'll do the schema thing, which is really neat. Here's an example of this. Others are charging $1,000 for, or I'll do a free analysis, which I have already printed up for you right here, so you don't even have to talk to me. Here's a copy of it right here. That stands out because people don't want to take time to like basically talk to you and find out that you're not legit. So if you right off the bat present them with the free offer, you're going to get attention. Or like even on like, let's say the weight loss side, instead of having a guy pay you like $50 to try like an appetite suppressant pill of some kind, instead of like selling the month or two supply right off the bat, why not say, hey, we're so confident in this that we'll actually give you a week's supply for free, just cover like the small shipping and handling. That's the kind of thing where it's a pretty appealing offer. And if they like it, again, you could have like a trial that goes into the monthly fee and all that right there. But anything that stands out is always a good thing right there, especially when there's like lots of competitors out there and lots of crap that isn't all that great. So the better you can make your offer, or the more appealing, or the more of like an impulse buy or an impulse opt-in, the better. Another one is how to know how to price your product, or how to sell for higher end prices. This is one where I oftentimes see people doing the opposite of what they should. Oftentimes they try to think that, man, I should sell my product or service for less and less and less, and I should be the low price leader. And that's a quick race to the bottom. And can it work? Sure. If you're like a Walmart, they've done quite well off that. But most of you aren't Walmart. And you'll have a hard time with that right there. And you'll tend to attract kind of the crappier clients. Whereas I'm a big fan of like trying to go for more higher end prices, because you typically attract better clients that won't expect as much, and they'll value your time more. And typically, first you want to price, or you want to split test your prices, regardless if it's like a low end price or high end price. You want to split test that. Don't just assume that like $7 is the optimal price for an ebook, or don't assume that $49 is the optimal price. Try to split test that. But if you're going for higher end prices, I'm a big fan of like trying to go for like stuff instead of like a $7 thing. See what you can do to turn it into a $500 to $1,000 thing. So instead of a $7 weight loss ebook, why not turn that into a $500 or $1,000 essentially online course, where you guarantee that they lose X amount of weight or their money back, or some kind of offer like that, where you turn it into like a series of webinars or videos, each day for a week, or some kind of like software, or some kind of thing where like each day you give them like a new exercise or something along that, where it feels like it's a bit more than just a book. Or on like the SEO side, instead of selling a book on how to do SEO for like $7 to $50, why not do the service for like $1,000 a month, or whatever you want to charge right there? So you're taking the same knowledge, but you turn it into something that has a lot more value in it. So the higher the perceived value, the more you can get, and the more hands-free you make it, like the more you do it for them instead of making them do it, the more you can charge as well. And oftentimes, like you can just do a little more hands-free stuff, and people pay way more. And we had a prior call where we basically showed how to take like a $7 book and turn it into like $1,000 a month then, or how to even take a $7 thing and turn it into a $25,000 thing. And I think the subject of that call was how to increase your price points 10 to 100 times, even if you don't have a product or anything right now. So I highly suggest you watch that if that's of any interest to you, because that was a really great one right there. But definitely see what you can do to add more value to your products, and ideally try to charge more too, because I think you'll find you'll tend to make more money that way. You'll have more money to spend on advertising to attract more buyers, and that can be great there. So with that, we'll see if there's any other questions, and then we'll give some cash away. And to get a chance to win $100 live in just a few minutes right here, you want to go to the free Facebook group right here, which is getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's just getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not a free member, just click to join. Sharon will approve of you. And then what you have to do, she has a post towards the very top that you'll see is basically posted within the past hour that asks what you thought of today's call. So only post in that post right there. It will only be less than an hour old. It will ask what you thought of to today's call. If you click on the comment and you leave a comment within that post right there, we'll pick a random winner, and we'll actually do the drawing live right here, so you can see it's entirely random, and we'll PayPal them $100 in just a few minutes right here. So make sure you go.
Okay, Brian, best question ever. Best question ever. Why are we giving cash away? What is the purpose? I know you're stumped. It's really simple. We're nice guys.
Yeah.
It's not a trick. If it was a trick, we'd ask you to like send us $100, and then we'd give you part of it back, like the bank.
Yeah, it's just essentially an incentive to get you guys to participate, and it's just like an extra little thank you for just being on our list and members and stuff, and yeah, just it's kind of fun, and you guys seem to all enjoy it, so that's why we do it. But of course, if you don't like it, feel free to let us know. And if you win, we won't give you the $100. All right. So let me just, I'm just going to pull up.
I know you're going to look and see if there are any questions. There are a lot of questions.
All right. Just going to pull up the Facebook page right here to go to, just to make sure people know exactly what I'm talking about right here. All right. So what you'll do on the Facebook page right here, you'll see a post from Sharon in the past hour right here, 45 minutes ago, asking what you thought of today's call. If you leave any comment you want, or maybe even a suggestion for next week or anything like that, we'll pick a random comment within like a minute or two or so, and we'll go to a random number generator to pick that winner and give that away. All right, so let's see what some questions are. I'm just going to pop out the questions real quick.
All right. How about if I interpret for you, because there's a lot.
All right,
okay?
Go for it.
So here's a question from, I'm probably saying the name wrong, Laksami. I'd like to know what I need to do to start my WebFire affiliate business.
Okay, so to clarify, are they looking to like be an affiliate of WebFire, or are they looking to like, what's that?
Pick one.
All right, so
you only have 3 minutes.
All right, so what we'll say is, so I'll assume that you basically mean you want to use WebFire to be an affiliate for basically almost anything, you know, including you could be an affiliate of WebFire as well. So what you could do in that case is a few things, and actually we have, if you go into the members area, we have actual like lots and lots of training specifically on affiliate stuff. So if you search the Wednesday calls for a keyword like affiliate, you'll find a ton of stuff right there. But there's stuff that you can do, like let's say you're an affiliate for massage chairs. You can use some of the lead tools to find guys asking questions on various massage chairs or massage chairs in general. You can take a minute or two to basically answer them. Maybe like kind of try to basically drive them to a review of some top suggested massage chairs of yours that have your affiliate link there. Or you can also create like a blog post, use the keywords tool inside of WebFire to find what the top suggested keywords are there, create some blog posts on there, write some reviews up, also create videos and stuff, get those ranked. That again, we have the tools to help make the videos and rank those and all that. And over time, you can not only get videos that are ranking for keywords in that niche, not only can you get blog posts for reviews and questions that guys might ask in that niche that you can be an affiliate for. You can also find leads that you can help answer stuff and help essentially drive them to your affiliate link, but first and foremost, provide value and help answer their questions and so forth right there. So that's the quick answer right there, but for a much more in-depth answer, just search affiliate or affiliate marketing on the training, and you'll see probably at least half a dozen calls that were on just that right there.
All right, good. So let me answer a question because I was chatting with somebody on this. This is a good question. Somebody asked a question because we're talking about scaling a business, and this question came up, which is, should I spend small amounts per day on Facebook ads? Like if I pick a $100 budget, should I spend $5 a day for 20 days, or should I spend $100 in one day? And the answer to this is long because, first of all, as all lawyers will tell you, it depends. And it depends on a lot of things. The first thing is, is your $100 budget really, hey, if I spent 100 and made 100, I'm ready to spend another 100, or like I got $100 and I have no idea what I'm doing. But one thing that's going to happen with spending money on Facebook ads is there's a learning process. You have to learn, like, oh, this ad sucks, because sometimes you write an ad that sucks. And when you write an ad that sucks, your first thing you want to do is stop running that ad because you don't need to keep wasting money. Okay, I fired the marketing director of a company about 20 years ago because we spent $5,000 on a marketing test and it was a disaster. And he argued vociferously that we needed to do it a second time to prove that it really didn't work. But I was convinced, having eaten $5,000, that I didn't have to do it twice to know that it wasn't a good idea. Okay? Same thing with running these ads. It's super easy to create a new ad. You run an ad, it doesn't work, you don't get good results, you don't get good clicks, whatever. You just dump it. You make a new ad, change the words, change the image, make a new ad, right? So you want to be able to learn, and at the same time, Facebook is going to start to get a little bit smarter every time you have a successful event. You have a lead or you have a sale. But so the faster you can spend money, if you had unlimited funds, you would spend a lot of money and you would do it really fast. You would just go up and throw up like 100 ads at $100 each, and you would burn through money, and you'd turn off the bad ones quickly, and everybody would learn fast. You would learn fast, Facebook would learn, etc., right? Okay. But most people don't have that kind of time and or budget to be able to do that. So you got to kind of look at what you can manage and what you can do and how much time you have to also look at your ads, because if you have limited funds but you want to learn in a hurry, you could spend $100 today. But when you turn on your $100 a day ad, you want to be able to look at it fairly often, even if you're looking on the mobile Facebook ads app, because if you start that ad and you've spent $25, $30 of your $100 budget and you've gotten like no results, you need to pause that, right? Because you don't need to let it keep running to be like, it's not working, should I spend another $100, right? So you need to be able to pause it. So if you're going to have bigger budgets, you need to pay more attention. Now, the other thing is that when it comes to learning, learning is based upon results. And you can only get results if something happens. If you're generating leads, okay, you're just getting people to express their interest by downloading a free report or free software or free book or opting in for some reason. Well, leads are cheap, right? So we can get a lot of leads on a small budget. Spend $100, get 100 leads, it's 100 results. You could see pretty quickly if you ran 3 or 4 ads like, hey, one of these is really good, one's really bad, 2 are mediocre, let's do more of the good one, right? But if you were using that same ad budget to sell a $200 e-com product, right, you might only make 1 sale, okay, and break even, but you have 1 result. And you see the difference. You can, you might have run 5 ads, 1 made a sale, each had a $20 budget, right? None of them really won because only 1 thing happened. You didn't even spend $100 on each ad yet. So how fast you're going to spend, how much you're going to learn is dependent upon those factors. And if you're just learning, generating low-cost leads or selling low-cost products via ads is a way better way to learn, because it's harder to sell higher-priced products and it's harder to spend money selling them because you got to spend more money to go learn, and you need the budget to be able to do that. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Now you know why I wanted to answer that. That's like a long one.
All right.
And so, Brian, we should give away money.
Yep. So let's give some cash away. And as always, if you guys have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to write us at support@webfire.com, or in the members area, just click on the support tab and it will go straight to the help desk. So with that, just refresh this page and give some cash away. All right. All right, count out, see if there's anyone outside this. All right, there's a couple that posted in the run on, but that's okay, we'll count. All right. All right, so 1 outside, 2, 3. So 3 plus 47, so 50. What do you think the lucky one will be? It's 1 to 50, Sean.
49.
All right. 46.
I know that would be way too easy.
Not too bad, close. All right. So 46, so it'd be.
Hey, listen, I can be just as random as the software generator.
47. This is 46 right here. So Simon Lexton, if this is you, in those sunglasses right there, appearing to be on maybe a beach, I'm guessing. That's you, or looks like you. Congratulations, you are $100 richer, or you will be as soon as you post up your PayPal email to Sharon in the chat. So just mention your PayPal email in the chat box to Sharon, and she'll get that off to you shortly this afternoon. So again, congratulations to Simon Lexton for being this week's Wednesday Marketing webinar winner. And with that, guys, if you have any suggestions on any calls or anything like that, again, feel free to let us know. Also search the prior calls and stuff too, because oftentimes stuff that you guys want will be covered a lot there. But if there's any other topics, again, let us know and we'll try to do our best right there. And with that, any other questions, just write support@webfire.com or click on the support link inside the members area. And with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to seeing you next week, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So with that, guys, have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.
Oh.